we got another G. We got a rank on the G tier list. So buckle up, boys, cause Itami here is about to show y'all how to pull a 9,000-year-old gothic little girl, a 600-year-old teen elf, a definitely not legal blue-haired mage, and his enemy's daughters and soldiers. Not only that, we're gonna be counting Itami's kill count, cause I know most of us are wondering what would happen if we brought a gun to a fantasy world. Would it be a massacre, or would it be completely useless? Take a guess in the comments how many kills you think Itami is gonna get. Nonetheless, our main character Itami here is a cultured man who enjoys slaughtering countless monsters. It's just a freaking game though, since elves, magic, and all that isn't real, right? After playing the game, he walks off. Now, everyone here in Japan is having a good old time. Itami is still being an otaku and runs into a freaking pole. He wakes up and gets caught by someone being a weeb. He's a proud culture man though, which as things are happening within the city, he's fawning over his little game. He glances back and wonders if he saw something, which the other world's forces have begun to invade Japan. They've come through a random gate and begin murdering everyone. Itami sees this and is like, damn, this is my moment to shine as people are getting killed. Well, he's actually more worried about his Boku no Pico convention being cancelled due to the chaos. He sees a girl in trouble, but as he tries to help, she says, I have a boyfriend. Itami then saw this officer here shooting down one of the wyverns. One of the night guys falls and charges him. As he's about to die, Itami judo throws him and begins choking him before cutting his throat and asking if everyone's okay. As the entire Japan is in chaos, Itami goes to the police officers and tells them to gather the civilians and leave. But these two goofies don't want to listen, so Itami ends up telling them, do what daddy says, or else. Now, the invading forces are going ballistic on Japan, treating this like an all-you-can-eat buffet. These dumb officers finally listen and finally let everyone out of this death trap. Everyone makes it to safety, which many police vans come in to take out the enemy forces. Now, these other warders are like, damn, why is everyone here so low in testosterone, and becomes instantly depressed? Well, all this testosterone went to this man here, Itami, who is currently helping these officers summon the military itself. An Apache helicopter comes in and annihilates the wyverns. They responded unrealistically quick. In real life, it would have taken 2 whole months for the military to show up. The military does a good job cleaning up these guys and folding them. Everyone is finally safe. Itami comes out and smiles. He knows that, damn, okay, that was pretty dope, but sees a little girl. Now, chill. Itami isn't a Minecraft YouTuber, so he actually helps the little girl find her mother. Itami is later awarded the Medal of Honor, but damn, does he not have enough already? Despite getting multiple proposals of country leaders trying to suck him off, Itami is freaking saddened and upset that he misses Boku no Pico convention, which is good, cause I don't want to have to cover that or traumatize y'all. Itami ends up in the army and is now running with this guy, who begins glazing him non-stop, which he tells them to hop off his pee-pee. They later have lunch, where Itami complains and tells them that he didn't even mean to return to the army. Yes, return. Itami is really trying to get that Dodge Charger. He hasn't received it yet, ever since he joined, so he's now trying to receive something else. The other guy feels violated and is now the one about to be assaulted, which we got grown men here stalking them like a lovesick high school girl. This isn't the US Navy, so there's no sword fights, but Itami does get dressed into a new uniform. The guy tells him that the government is penny pinching and is actually due to Itami here. I guess they sent Itami all the national budget available and even offered up their wives and daughters. You might have noticed by now that Itami here is the most glazed man in anime. The government soon announces that they've apprehended the foul creatures after they massacred 20,000 innocent Japanese civilians. The army is now about to enter the new world. Whereas they are being briefed, Itami sees the girl from before and it's clear that someone important has passed. The military is soon sent into this darkness. It's super cool and I'm gonna put an awesome soundtrack for y'all. Hey, you think that there are big booty cat girls there? Huh. Why wouldn't there be? The cultured men now arrive at this place, which as the tanks look around, they spot a giant approaching army. The radio orders them to move out, which Itami and the soldiers prepare for a full-on battle. Their enemies instantly get wiped off screen though, which as these new world leaders begin discussing how badly they got folded, they realize that they lost 60% of their troops, so decide to debate their fellow allies into also losing their forces. The Empire is pretty much sending their allies to their deaths, which as they're here scouting the area, one of the leaders arrive, where they later have a meeting. There are 8 leaders here, who have each brought around 15,000 to 20,000 soldiers, totaling around 100,000 or more. The guys are pretty cocky and note that there's only 10,000 enemy troops. They also note that the Empire themselves haven't shown up, despite being the one calling everyone out here. They begin arguing and discussing who wants to die first. The next day, the commanders begin leading their armies into battle. The soldier comes and tells the commander that the Empire still hasn't shown up. Another guy takes note of this, which as they are marching, the hill seemingly begins exploding. They are being hit with artillery with without even knowing it. The commander looks over the hill and finds everyone dead. The battle is quite quick as the wyverns are shot down and the army is killed by insects. After the brutal slaughter, there are now 4 leaders left, which this guy is like, we can't retreat, man. Did you see how many of our men died? Nah, I'm not about to let that slide. He leads the remaining army into a night raid, trying to use the darkness to their advantage. But suddenly, flares appear and he wonders what is happening. The commander realizes that their position has been compromised, so he tells them to charge forward and to bring the fight to them. But giant tank rounds come in to decimate his troops. As he rides forward, he gets caught on barbed wire set there. The soldiers come to assist him and help him up, but he realizes that they are all dead and tell them to run. It's too late though, as they are being obliterated and squashed like puny insects. The commander himself is shocked and cannot believe what he is seeing. So shocked in fact, that he walks forward and picks up a bow before firing it, but it's no use. He begins laughing and quickly gets killed by an artillery shell. After the battle, Itami and his fellow brother walks through the battlefield. The enemy army has freaking lost 100,000 soldiers, which even Itami is wondering why these guys want to die so badly. This is actually due to the Empire's king, who is the douche, who only cares about himself. He tells his advisor to go erase the allies' villages and poison the water. His daughter comes in and he tells her to send out her squad of kittens to scout the enemy army. Sounds like a horrible idea, but alright. Itami is now reporting to his superior. I'm pretty sure that he has none, but as he's insulting whoever got the crappy job, the superior tells him he's the one that got the crappy job. Itami is the captain and is now leading this squad of talented soldiers. One of the soldiers asks why their captain is an idiot who looks like a pushover. They later go through this village, talking to the locals and gathering intel. After, they begin arguing about what is better. His boy says that he really wants to get abducted by a witch. Like, imagine what that pony long nose do. Itami on the other hand is starting to sound like a Minecraft YouTuber. He says that he really likes magical girls, which if you don't know what that is, it's pretty much females who look like 5-year-olds that dress up like Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, magical girls are pretty cool.
Seriously?
Emu is smoking.
Ah, your standards are low.
Don't be talking about my waifu like that.
By the way guys, this is Emu. I'm not sure which guy has the worst taste, but personally, I like homeless women. Anyways, during the sunset, Itami is trying to learn the local language, which he sounds like a complete dummy, but he spots a giant fire, whereas they get off and check what is happening. They see a giant dragon. Yep, this is 100% a fantasy world. They ask what to do, but Itami tells her to bring him some toilet paper. As they joke around, they get worried that the dragon would come over, but it ends up running off. The girl tries to joke and smart mouth him, but brother tells her to shut up and take the situation seriously. They arrive at this place where they make note that everyone has died. It's really tragic, and it seems that the giant dragon that they encountered is far stronger and bigger than the previous wyverns. So these ballistic calibers aren't gonna do much if they have to face it. As Itami throws a bucket down to drink some bath water, it hits someone's big forehead. He finds out that there's an elf chick down there who he just gave brain damage to. Itami climbs down and is like, damn, she's hot. He gets lifted up with the help of a vehicle, where he states the obvious. The 2 girls tend to her, where they decide to remove her clothes, so she doesn't get a cold. These brothers are excited to find an elf. It's clear that this brother likes elves, but Itami ain't into that. He likes magical girls and cat girls. The other girl comes over and asks what they should do, which he's like, I need some new shoes, but soon tells her that they'll take her in. Well, to be more specific, he'll be taking her in. It's obvious that Mr. Itami is also into elves. They head off, where they arrive at this town. Itami is able to communicate with the locals using their native tongue. He tells them about the flame dragon and shows him this chick. They decide to evacuate the village due to the flame dragon's appearance. It's a dangerous monster, so even this old man is leaving. He falls down the stairs and begins throwing a tantrum. Now, here's a magical girl. I'll tell y'all a little bit about her in a minute, but she tells him that they really need to get her riding. Grandpa is baffled and is like, how can you be so lewd? I'm way too old to be riding a girl as young as yourself. Grandpa here isn't into what Itami's into, so he begins daydreaming about big booty Latinas, which the blue-haired girl decides to send him to hell. After almost dying, the carriage ends up being too heavy, so they use magic to help them evacuate. There ends up being a line, which Grandpa is wondering what is happening. One guy appears and tells him about the situation. They both spot green people though, and people speaking new languages. Blue-haired girl gets off to check things out. She runs over to this scary horse, dying, and this boy also dying. This enemy isn't into animal rescue videos, so they end up helping the horse, as this blue-haired girl is wondering what is is happening. This scary horse gets up and tries to attack them, but it gets shot dead without any F's given. Blue-haired girl is amazed, which later, brother and Itami is now chatting. Itami realizes after talking to the locals, the Japanese army had wiped out all the local lords and soldiers, leaving these people vulnerable. The squad is now escorting the villagers to safety, where Itami isn't too excited about all of this. The soldiers are working hard helping the villagers though, but one of the carriages break down. The guy is told to leave everything behind, but he gets upset. Itami though comes up to him and tells him to grow some balls, and ends up burning their stuff. The girl asks why they didn't help him, but Itami makes a great point that they don't have time for that. They need to keep moving, since they are behind enemy lines. One of the guys points out that they see something up the road. Itami grabs some binoculars. At first, he sees only crows, but sees a freaking little girl who's dressed like a goth magical girl. He points this out to his brother, which both of these guys get rather excited seeing a goth baddie in the middle of the road. The goth girl gets up and begins approaching them. She begins asking questions, which Itami instantly knows she's dangerous. Other girl thinks that she's a very young maid, which these kids run over and begin worshipping her. The crew makes note of this, but the goth girl spots this Chad and approaches. She questions what this vehicle is. The kid tells her that these green people helped them. They also make note that this green metal thing is really comfortable. She begins thinking that they must be referring to Itami here, which she begins preying on this man. Itami is really innocent though, so he tries to communicate. The goth girl ends up on his lap. Things are getting rather strange as brother in the back is like, "It should have been me." Itami doesn't want her on his lap, which she begins reaching for his 50 caliber sniper rifle hidden within his pants. The villagers are definitely wondering what is happening in there. They soon make it to this land that looks rather sad. The crew already wants to be done with this, but Itami decides to look out the window and directly at the freaking sun. Luckily, he's dying to go blind, cause he spots something flying towards them, which it gets eaten by a humongous fire dragon. Itami is shocked and warns the crew. The fire dragon though begins burning everyone alive and destroying the carriages. It then begins chasing the magical girl and her grandpa. Before landing, the crew decides to charge at it. They begin firing at it with both 50 caliber machine guns and rifles. The bullets though aren't doing much, and the dragon prepares to breathe a blast at them. They manage to avoid it somehow, where this dragon prepares to wipe them out again. But Itami is trying to activate some unknown power, but this elf chick wakes up and begins saying the obvious.
Oh no!
Well, look who's up.
Oh no! Oh no!
Okay lady, we get it. Oh no, we are about to be attacked. I guess Itami's smarter than me, cause he realizes that she's telling them to target the dragon's eye. He orders his crew to fire at the dragon's eye, which after spraying it, it's clear that the dragon doesn't like it and staggers it. One of the guys pulls out an RPG and launches it towards the dragon. It's clear that his aim is bad, cause he's not Itami, the man who never misses. The goth girl though decides to help by throwing her giant scythe into the air. It smashes the ground with great force, stunning the dragon, allowing the missiles to travel and do a great damage to the giant dragon. The dragon begins retreating and flying off. Itami and the others actually enjoy the battle, but reality sets in as the villagers are now mourning their lost loved ones. Itami spots a girl crying, and he tries to comfort her. It reminds him of the other girl, and he and the other guys speak about the orphans. The chief of the villagers are like, "F them kids," and leaves the kids behind, and everyone else for Itami to handle. After saying their goodbyes, the female soldier asks what they're gonna do with the refugees. Itami responds by cheerfully telling them that it'll be okay. He'll be taking them in. Damn, Itami! Leave some for the rest of us. Elf girl wakes up from a nightmare and is greeted by the girl. Itami also tells her good morning. They arrive at the Japanese base. I'm telling y'all, this anime gotta be like Japan propaganda or something, cause Japan be crapping on other nations while glazing their own. Y'all remember the princess? Neither do I. Her squad and her are listening in on the gossip about the green soldiers defeating the flame dragon and saving the village. They don't really believe it though, but end up getting stuck in an unescapable dialogue. Itami finally brings his new harem back to the base, where his commander is wondering why he's bringing refugees here. Itami ends up getting scolded for getting too much laid. Surprisingly, the general and his bootlicker accept Itami's harem. The commander though isn't too pleased and clearly isn't a very cultured man by the way he's reacting. Itami later orders his squad to prepare things in the shelter for the refugees. He sure looks excited. The bootlicker appears and calls Itami out for purposely not telling them that he was gonna bring refugees over due to the fact that he knew that his commanding officers would reject it. Pretty much Itami is a bad boy who brings girls over without telling his parents. Over time, blue-haired girl begins learning the tradition around here. Afterwards, the country of Japan is now in distraught. News claiming that the Japan force that have been sent to the other world have been slacking and letting people die. But the truth is, all the people who've encountered them have been saved. These three girls are bathing, and they begin glazing Itami. Itami is definitely the GOAT from what I'm hearing from these kittens. Princess goes to meet the Allied forces' injured leader, who is now traumatized. He tells the princess that the true enemy was not the green people, but the Empire leader himself. She later meets meets up with her subordinates, who all prepare to set off. Everyone is tense, but Itami, the idiot himself, as these girls are trying to speak to him, he continues to ignore them. He doesn't realize that they report to him though, and ends up getting kicked in the jewels. He tries to scold them, but they tell him that they're here about the elf girl Tuka, who keeps asking for an extra of anything they got. Itami begins thinking that Tuka must have a imaginary boyfriend. The crew now prepares to set off, where Tuka seems nervous, but gets reassured by the crew. As they're on the road, they spot a big fire once again. This time, it looks man-made. They decide to check it out, which the chaos is actually due to the massive battle between the princess and the rogue allied soldiers that they massacred before. Princess manages to drive them off and asks if everyone's okay. She begins walking off and complaining that she didn't expect to meet bandits here. She thought that it'd be green people. She later sits down and her advisor tells her to just give up her cheeks, but she doesn't want to do that. Princess goes to bed and begins dreaming about her younger days, where they all aspired to be knights. The king though never saw them as anything more than just decorations. She had always been frustrated that maybe her knights aren't crap. She gets rudely waken up, which she's brought to this gate due to the green vehicle stationed in front of the gate. This mage, elf, and goth girl appears. This goth girl is the god of death, so the princess thinks that they are doomed. As her right-hand woman asks what to do, Princess decides to see if these guys are friendly. She quickly opens and pushes open the gate. Her clumsiness though knocks out the goat here, and after, they are now trying to save this man's life, but after getting some stimulation from the goth girl, he gets up. His crew radios if they should move in, but Itami tells him to let him do his thing. Itami learns that the red-haired girl is the princess of the empire. Princess later explains the empire's lineage as they're walking through the halls. She tells him that the head princess is this little girl, where they all settle down. Itami offers to protect the city here. Princess accepts it, but is very suspicious of these green people. Itami is getting lectured by his superiors. He is actually asking them for a favor, as they're stationed at the wall. Itami knows that the princess wants them to get wiped out, and is using his crew as a distraction. Itami makes sure to raise up the death god while fixing his helmet, which at nighttime, as these soldiers are waiting, fire arrows come flying in. Most of them manage to avoid the arrows, but the battle becomes very intense, as ladders are brought and even mages are spotted. The commander realizes that they're fighting against crazy people, which Princess is over here getting traumatized and experiencing true war for the first time. The crazy demon people manage to break in. They drag in some friendlies and begin taunting the locals, causing them to lose it and charge the enemies. Everyone seems dire as the head knight is killed and thrown off. This villain begins giving a speech inspiring these guys to massacre everyone here. The princess hasn't done crap, while goth girl here is over here moaning and crying. Itami asks what is wrong with her, but Mage tells him that everyone who gets killed goes through her. Huh? Well, Princess's forces are now dying from this guy who's swinging a giant steel ball around. They're screwed. One of the green girls tries to help the goth girl, but she suddenly takes off. They decide to follow her and drive through the city. Itami had radio for air support. Not sure why, since this is a populated urban environment. 9 Apaches are now here, ready to delete everyone in the city. This is about to be so overkill, but I'm all for it. Itami shoots a flare into the sky, while goth girl jumps into the battlefield and lands. This chain guy tries to approach and attack her, but he gets countered and sent flying. These guys just encounter a Dark Souls boss, which as they're stunned, an explosion happens behind them. The Apaches are now here, killing everyone and anything. The enemy tries to use a turret, but the Apaches appears and deletes them like nothing. I cannot tell y'all how overkill all of this is, but Japan, baby! Some of them manage to survive, where Itami arrives. The other girl runs into battle, while goth girl Rory is enjoying her time, slaughtering everyone here. They use a shield wall and try to stab her, but as she dodges and slices through everyone, they then try surrounding her and stabbing her, but she jumps up and stabs one of them before whirlwinding everyone to death. This other girl comes in and begins killing everyone as well. Damn, everyone in this anime is a freaking badass. Tommy and his boys begin covering and wiping everyone out, which as the main guy gets hit with an explosion and falls on Rory's scythe. She rips him to shred as he's dying, which Itami gives radio that they need to clear out cause they're about to wipe everyone out here. They do as said, where these Apache helicopters delete everyone off the face of the earth. Damn, okay. I don't think swords and magic has anything on guns and helis. Princess is shocked as these green people drop down to capture and help people. Itami gets thanked by the locals while the Apaches leave. Itami somehow got the goth girl in his arms, where she pokes his chest as he's touching her. He gets beat up and the princess is now trembling in fear. She knows that these green people are definitely dangerous and they shouldn't be messed with. Itami and his squad are now here, making a treaty with the princess in this city. Princess is surprised that Itami doesn't want anything in exchange. Well, besides this bird girl. But can you blame blame him? Men of culture, gather around. Defend our boy Itami, cause he's now being lectured by these other girls. The Apaches fully leave, which Itami's team asks if they should leave, but he tells them that they need to wait, as Mage and Rory are now trading in some wyvern scales. The merchant ends up scamming them, where they are now leaving. As they're driving, Itami's brother suddenly stops. He spots a cute blondie, followed by a bunch of more hottie. They realize that it's the princess's night order. These girls approach them and demand to know where they are going. They draw their blades and it's clear that there might be a battle here. Itami gets out of the vehicle and tries to talk, but he gets freaking slapped like a disobedient wife. His team is ready to kill these girls, but Itami is a simp, so he tells them to not shoot and go to the checkpoint. They scurry off while Itami here has to deal with these girls, who are about to violate him. Itami's squad is now trying to rescue their captain back. The one girl thinks he's dead, while the princess is over here scolding her idiot subordinates. One of them asks what they did wrong, but Princess looks over at Itami, who looked like he got beat up by a group of baddies. Well, he did. Princess and her teacher are now speaking about that they might be cooked after violating the treaty on the first day. The knight makes it clear that she should grovel, but she doesn't know if she wants to.
What? What did you say?
The lieutenant doesn't have anything to worry
That's
about?
not what you said!
Karada said that Lieutenant Itami happens to be a ranger.
Ah!
This girl here is shocked that Itami, the jackass, is a ranger, meaning he's a certified badass. Well, now that we get to know why Itami is so goated, the crew infiltrates the city nonchalantly. The elf girl casts a spell that makes everyone go night-night. Don't worry, they are dead. When it's all clear, they finally head in to find Itami, who is peacefully sleeping. He wakes up in heaven with these animal girls surrounding him. He's clearly very pleased. One of the maids come in and told him he can ask them for whatever he wants, since he did save this town, but the blondie dared to assault their savior, Itami. After deeply apologizing, Itami forgives everyone. He's the most chill guy. Now he's being served and taken care of by these cute maids. Now bro, Itami, like I said, leave some for the rest of us, man. That guy said, just ask them for anything you need. Damn, we get it, lady. That's the third time you've said it. Don't gotta remind us. Itami's crew is now sneaking around the place, trying to infiltrate. The bunny girl hears them and instantly knows that it's Itami's gang. The head maid tells them to go greet them, which the maid begins explaining what these beast people are. The snake girl leans in and sniffs his brother and tries to eat him, but the other tries to stop him. Itami's gang makes it in and barges into the room to find maids. While Itami is being fed and served, they walk in worried, but only find him chilling. Princess is still scolding the blondie and tells her she must make amends to Itami for pummeling his face in by offering up her body. She looks rather goofy with that expression on her face. Brother here is now trying to pick up this cat girl. She begins laughing at him though. Everyone is doing rather well and getting along. The blondie though is about to give our brother Itami the Gog 360 no scope, but as she opens the door, she finds him chilling with the homies. It confuses and embarrasses her, which after seeing Itami happy, she approaches and begins beating him up. The next day, the squad is now here. The princess asks what happened to Itami's face, but Blondie admits to beating Itami up. Princess panics as these guys are trying to leave, since Itami must report back to their senate, where she realizes that their country might be doomed if Itami snitches. So she decides to follow Itami, but he's not very fond of that. Things end up turning into this, where the princess and Blondie getting into the cars. Now it's time to rank Itami. Right now, Itami is at Chad tier. Aura is a little low, but if y'all want to see more, comment down part 2.